Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship.
Audio and video recorder. What seems to be the problem?
You're going to be placed under arrest.
I'm being placed under arrest?
Yes, sir.
For what?
Common nuisance. Under arrest criminally.
Okay.
No, 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 no.
Don't resist.
Do not.
Relax. Make sure you tell.
Yeah, I got arrested again.
Huh.
No big deal, but it's ridiculous because they tried to say we're not allowed to go to these protests now because of the new emergency order.
David Menzies for Rebel News here in Vaughan, Ontario, and I'm with the notorious, the increasingly notorious Chris Sky. And you may recall, folks, back on Saturday, there was another anti-lockdown protest in downtown Toronto. Ooh, the police really clamped down on that. Check out some of this footage.
We're not breaking any laws. We're adhering to all the laws. Everyone here can claim their medical exemption and shop without their mask. Right. We're not causing a riot in the store. Everyone's peaceful. Everyone's shopping. We're not trespassing. It's perfect. It's calm. It's legal, and it's an act of unified non-compliance. United.
When are you going into the store?
I'll go in right now. I'll buy something.
Okay, well, here we go. Well, folks, we're in Shoppers Drug Mart right now, and I see Chris Sky.
Re-normalize normality. Okay, so if enough people see enough people shopping without a mask, then they will be more comfortable with it, and they will be more prone to take off their mask themselves.
So the protest wrapped up late in the afternoon. Let's be clear. The police did disperse the protest from Yonge Dundas Square. That became effectively a no man's land, but they didn't disperse the protest. It just marched up the streets to Queen's Park, to various retailers on Yonge Street, and so on and so forth. And Chris Sky, around coming up for 4, he decided to call it a day. But when you went to your SUV, Chris, you had a surprise in store for you, didn't you?
Yeah, I got arrested again.
Huh.
No big deal, but it's ridiculous because they tried to say we're not allowed to go to these protests now because of the new emergency order. I never showed up to any protest. I wasn't at Dundas Square. I heard a crowd went to Dundas Square. I wasn't even downtown. Then I heard a crowd went to Queen's Park. I ended up seeing the crowd there. And then I told everybody we shouldn't protest because I didn't want anybody to get arrested. So I said, we're all down here. The only thing you can do to not get in trouble is walk away. So I told everybody to just walk away. So everybody went their own ways down the street. I decided to do some shopping. Some people came shopping with me. People were claiming their medical exemption. We went to various downtown retailers, shop mask-free. For the most part, the only commotion that was caused was by the police when they showed up, but they showed up at each retailer, and there's nothing they can do because nobody was breaking any laws except the stores when they decided they didn't want to serve any more customers.
Yeah, you know, that is interesting, and I'll tell you, folks, that was a hell of a shopping spree indeed. The crowd went to Shoppers Drug Mart, Whole Foods, and check out this footage of Chris Sky in action at Longo's on Bloor Street.
Let's talk to this manager, right? Hi. So let's talk about the bylaw right now.
Can everybody stand 6 feet away from me, please?
Oh, but you have a mask on.
You're concerning me. No, you're concerning me.
Here, you can talk to Rebel News and tell them why you're violating the law. Excuse me, I'm asking you a question.
We can go downstairs and talk.
Okay, let's have a talk. What's your name? You're the manager?
Yeah.
Hi, Daniel. My name's Chris.
Chris, you're trespassing from all.
No, actually, I'm not. I just bought something. Okay, let's explain something to you.
I'm gonna ask you.
You can ask anything you want. I claim my medical.
I'm done talking.
Excuse me. I claim my medical exemption like everyone else. The bylaw states that you cannot deny service. You cannot ask for a condition. You cannot ask for proof of a condition. So what you're doing right now, denying these people service, is illegal.
Can you stop spitting on me, please?
I'm not spitting on you.
Thank you.
Oh, are you that scared that you got it? Okay, let me measure it for you. Is that enough?
Here's my receipt.
Anyway, there you go.
Assault. That's my receipt. That's assault. That's my receipt.
Well, I didn't assault you. I didn't do anything. I'm not trespassing. I bought a banana.
Okay.
Did you say I assaulted you?
And he's trespassing.
I'm not trespassing. I bought something. So.
Okay, sir. Can you please go now?
I can. Now that I shot it, I was just explaining the bylaw to him, and I'll explain it to you too.
Can you open the door? Open the door.
Excuse me. I just want to know. Wait, him deny him.
So there you go, Chris. The cops did come. They weren't happy. They didn't charge you then. But let's talk about the charges. 1 count of you being a common nuisance and 4 counts of public mischief. Are those charges indeed related to you and your friends going into these stores without masks and in a large group?
Well, I can't comment on that because it's an ongoing case and investigation, but what I can tell everybody is if we were breaking the law at those stores, they would have arrested us at those stores. They wouldn't have let us go to multiple stores and do what we did, because all we did was shop, claim our medical exemption as is our right by the law. And like I said, the only one who broke any laws that day were the stores themselves if they declined service to anyone who wasn't wearing a mask. And let's be clear, that's not an actual criminal law, that's them breaking a bylaw, which is why I actually asked the police when they came on site to call the bylaw officers.
We're actually going to leave after they serve us. They're not allowed to deny us service. No, they're not allowed to deny us service. So we request that you call a bylaw officer.
We're not going to do that.
Well, then we're not going to leave until they serve us.
Because we actually had the bylaw printed for the police, and we went right through it with the police and the manager, and we showed exactly what it says. As soon as somebody claims their medical exemption, you cannot ask them what their condition is, you cannot ask them for proof of their condition, and above all else, you cannot deny them service.
And Chris, you actually called bylaw yourself on your own self.
I did.
And I guess to paraphrase the saying, where's a bylaw officer when you need one?
Well, isn't it really interesting that we were in there and they're trying to enforce bylaw on us, but every single store we went to, they only sent police officers. They didn't send one bylaw officer. Why? Because the bylaw officer would have to admit that we were right and what they were doing is incorrect. So it's no accident that they sent dozens and dozens of police officers in force to try to intimidate and force people to leave the store illegally. But it's no accident that when I actually asked them, actually explaining the bylaw to them, it said, now that you know that the store is in clear violation of the bylaw and it's out of your jurisdiction as a police officer, I would like you to call the bylaw officers here while you're here so you can be a witness, so the store can be educated on the bylaw and we can get over this. And
Here goes a police officer right now, Chris.
Oh, surprise, they're doing laps.
Yeah, okay. And it should be pointed out, you seem to think that they are tailing you. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, one of your conditions for release is that you can't go into the city of Toronto. That's why...
Well, what I will say, I got first of all, I didn't have to pay bail to get out. Okay. I wasn't even processed. I was just given a Section 10 release form. And on that form, they put a boundary order, which is absolutely illegal, absolutely unconstitutional, and ridiculous, considering I work in the city of Toronto. For someone to tell you can't go somewhere where you work is...
Now, Chris, tell us, when you were arrested and you were given those 5 charges, I understand you had to spend some time in a paddy wagon.
Yeah, that was a little bit of, let's just say, unusual treatment. I was kept in a paddy wagon in a little tiny cubicle for a few hours. So I finally knocked on the door, and it's all being video and audio recorded, and I asked them, why aren't you letting me at least go inside? And they said, okay, we'll let you out of there. And they let me out of that paddy wagon and immediately put me into a different one. And
so they're having some fun with you, I guess.
It seemed that way. They'll probably put it up to COVID, but.
And talk about insult to injury. You have a bright amber piece of paper, don't you, Chris? What's that?
Well, I had my car parked on the side of the road, and they decided to arrest me and not let anybody come and pick it up. But at least they were nice enough not to tow it, but they left it there long enough that by the time I got out, I got a parking ticket. So.
Well, you know what? The city of Toronto under Mayor Tory, he's got a lot of money to raise for all these millions they're spending on law enforcement to keep the lockdown intact. Chris, I just want to ask you, when you play devil's advocate, I see the chatter on social media. You'll see the naysayers. They're applauding that you got arrested. They call you a super spreader. They call you a COVID-idiot. What do you have to say to those people that say you and your colleagues were irresponsible for going into stores en masse without a mask?
First of all, after what happened in Toronto, the same thing happened. It was emulated. A bunch of shoppers, mask-free, going into stores, no problem, in Alberta, Saskatchewan, Quebec, and Vancouver. So it's already a Canada-wide movement. Second of all, this whole idea that we're super spreaders is ridiculous. In 2020, I traveled to 4 continents, 10 countries, dozens of international airports. I protested with thousands of people every week in multiple cities and countries. So if anybody should be dead from COVID by now, it would be me. How is it that none of the people at our protests, and we have people aged 6 up to 85, are never sick, never masked, always around people and just fine? We're not the ones lining up in masks to get COVID tests and getting the positive test results. The vast majority of people getting positive COVID test results are people wearing masks. And once again, this whole thing about anti-mask, we are not anti-mask. That's a label the media created to try to make us look bad. We are anti-lockdown, anti-forced business closure, anti-taking away our rights. If you work in a medical industry, if you work in a long-term care facility, I advocate for you to wear personal protection equipment. And that is a certified medical grade respirator with a HEPA filter or better, not a stupid surgical mask or cloth face covering that does absolutely nothing to prevent viral transmission. Wow. Sorry.
So you said you went to 4 continents. Was one of them Antarctica? I don't want the penguins getting infected, Chris.
No, I was in, obviously, Canada. I was in Europe, all over Europe.
Okay.
I was in Asia, and I was in South America.
Okay.
All in 2020, all mask-free, and surprise, here I am.
So, Chris, I guess a two-part question. A, any regrets about what happened on Saturday? And B, where do we go from here? Are you going to return to downtown Toronto this coming Saturday?
Well, once my conditions get amended, which they have to because it's unconstitutional, first of all, and second of all, I work downtown. I have to be able to go to work. Right. I'm probably not going to be going to the protest on Saturday because they're going to be cracking down on anyone that's speaking at the protest, and obviously the speaking wasn't doing the trick, but I do advocate for everybody to assert their rights, take off their mask, and live their life. Once people start doing that and it becomes more normalized, people will gain the confidence.
Hey folks, have you been victimized by bylaw or law enforcement when it comes to those coronavirus fines? Well, if so, please tell us your story. And you know what? If we think it has merit, we will go to bat for you. That's right. We will fund your legal fees through crowdfunding and get justice once the courts reopen. Please go to fightthefines.com. That's fightthefines.com. And folks, if you don't have a story to tell, but you'd like to support us in our crowdfunding efforts, please go to that website, fightthefines.com, and if you can, kindly make a donation. Thank you.